Dear students, today's class is on the uncertainty relation, Heisenberg uncertainty relation, and before that we will just have a recapitulation on the wave particle duality. We have already discussed it in our previous classes that we have seen evidences in case of say photoelectric effect that waves were quantized and the concept of photons came up through Einstein to explain the photoelectric effect. That means here photons were imagined to be a packet of energy. That means kind of particles who can carry energy, though the particle nature was not directly explained in photoelectric effect. The particle nature of waves, that means particles have momentum and they possess energy. This nature of waves was manifested in Compton effect experiment. If we just do a summary, that waves have wavelength and they carry energy. So particles have momentum and they also possess energy, kinetic energy. So if in a wave we see that some momentum is present, if a wave is detected with momentum, then we can say that wave possesses particle nature, and it was evident in Compton effect experiment. We saw that X-ray photons, they possess a momentum, and that momentum transfer takes place, etc., etc. To momentum transfer takes place to the recoil electron. The energy of the incident X-ray photon was changed due to some part of energy was donated to that electron. And in other words, if we see that some particles, they have wavelength, if we see that particles possess wavelength, then we say that particles possess wave nature. And it was evident in the experiment of Davison and Jarmar, in the experiment of G.V. Thomson. We have discussed the Davison-Jarmar experiment in detail, where we saw that the particles or electrons, they possess a wavelength, and the wavelength was measured in their experiments, and the particles having an associated wave or matter wave, it was predicted by de Broglie in de Broglie hypothesis. We know that from de Broglie hypothesis, if a particle has a momentum p, then the corresponding wavelength of the matter wave associated to the particle is lambda equals h by p. This is known to us, this relation. Now, so we see that particles can have wave nature, and waves can also have a particle nature. So the question is, what is it actually? If an electron is there, so is it a particle or is it a wave? Here comes a very important principle of Bohr. It is the principle due to Bohr, and its name is the complementarity principle. It is the Bohr's complementarity principle. It says that as it is evident electrons can behave like particles, electrons can behave like waves. So the two aspects, two natures, that is the wave nature and particle nature, are complementary. That means no physical phenomenon, that means no experiment can reveal the two natures simultaneously. So if one experiment shows that electron is a particle, then in the same experiment the wave nature of the electron will not be seen, and vice versa. That means if in one experiment, say the Davison-Jarmar experiment, electron behaves like a wave, then the particle nature of electron will not be observed. So according to this concept, the electron in an atom can be thought as an electron cloud. That means electron is thought as a wave. That means some energy is associated with that wave. That is the energy of the electron, which varies according to the distance from the nucleus. The energy of the electron changes. That means electron is actually distributed around the nucleus in form of a charge cloud, an electron cloud. So it's a charge distribution, and this charge distribution takes different shapes, and when they are situated from at different distances from the nucleus. And we will see it later in the next class that really in the atom you cannot say that electron stays there as a particle. We will see it later as an application of the uncertainty principle. So, from here we see that electrons or a particle can be a wave having some wavelength, and can also be treated as a particle having some momentum. And in case of matter waves, we saw in previous classes that with a material particle we can associate a group of waves. So, it is there in our background knowledge, and using all this we will try to understand Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. What is this? As we have a concept of wave packet, so it is evident that the wave packet picture, the wave packet associated to a particle, it imposes, we will see that it imposes a fundamental restriction. That is very important point. This fundamental restriction on specifying the exact position of a particle. We cannot say the exact position because we associated a wave packet to the particle. So, the particle is somewhere there within the packet. You see here, we have seen this figure in the previous class. Now, we say that this is the stretch of a packet. So, this is a wave packet. That means this range is the spread of the wave packet. This is x direction, and along the vertical direction the undulations, the oscillations, the undulations, the disturbances is plotted along the vertical axis, and in the horizontal axis we plot the distance, say x, and it can be said for sure that the particle is located somewhere inside the packet. We discussed it before. So, we see that we cannot define the exact position, the exact point in space at which the particle may be found at a certain point of time, but we can say that particle is there within the packet. There can be a probability of finding the particle here, there can be a higher probability of finding the particle in around the middle, there will be a lesser probability to find the particle at the edge, but we cannot specify the point. We can only say that particle is there within this range. So, from this distance to this distance we say it is a delta x. So, we just go through it, that the wave packet description of a particle imposes a fundamental restriction on the exact position of the particle, and the position of the particle is definitely within the wave packet, but the exact point of location is clearly unpredictable. At the edges the probability is less to find the particle. In the middle we have high probability to find the particle, and similarly this is, as we said, that the probability can be estimated, but certainty cannot be assigned to finding a particle at a particular point. It is not certain that we can find a particle at a particular point. Similarly, the wave packet was formed, we know it, by superposing multiple number of waves with different k values. K means 2 pi by lambda. Different k values. We saw it that we took a mean k value, say k naught, and then we consider multiple number of waves whose k values are very close to that mean value. K value means, just remember that wave is expressed as a e to the power I omega t minus kx, that k. So, the momentum of the packet is given by definitely P equals h cross k, and instead of a fixed k value, a range of k values are needed to form a wave packet. So, the momentum of the particle, as this k changes, then this p will also changes. K varies within a range, a short range, but still k varies within a range, so definitely p will also vary within a range. So, the momentum of the particle represented by the packet can not have a definite precise value, but it is determined within a range. So, the momentum has a range of values. That means the fundamental limitation is simultaneously imposed. Neither you can determine the position precisely, nor we can determine its momentum precisely, because the packet is formed by superposing different waves having different k values. So, the fundamental limitation is simultaneously imposed. So, this simultaneously is the simultaneous word is extremely important. On the accuracy, the limitation, not that we cannot know, but the limitation is on the accuracy of the measurement of the momentum. We can say that the particle is there, but definitely there is an error margin. It can also be here, it can also be here. If we see the mean position, then it will have some error. If we say the mean momentum, then it will have certain range, p plus minus delta p, x plus minus delta x, like this. So, these uncertainties are definitely, we understand that these uncertainties in measuring position and momentum are natural, and for obvious reasons they are different from the instrument error. We know that when we measure something, we experimentally in our laboratories, when we measure something, we calculate the errors associated to our instruments. These uncertainties are beyond those instruments. However accurate our instrument is, there will be definitely some uncertainty from the concept of a particle, from the concept of a wave, from the concept of a wave packet corresponding to a particle. Some uncertainties will be imposed if we want to measure the position and the momentum of the particle. And what is the value of the uncertainties? We can say the lower limit of the uncertainties. Definitely we can say the lower limits, but not the upper limits. And the lower limits of minimum uncertainty we can say, and this is Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. The lower limits of measuring, lower limits of accuracy, or the lower limits of uncertainties, lower limits of errors, if we want to measure the position and momentum. It is mathematically established. The proof is not given here. I think according to your syllabus, you do not need the proof of the relation, but you just need to know it, that it is impossible to determine simultaneously the position of a particle and its conjugate momentum with unlimited accuracy. You can measure it, but your accuracy cannot be unlimited. It cannot be extremely precise. That means you must incur some error. You cannot measure the position of a particle and its momentum simultaneously with unlimited accuracy. Let us have an elaboration on it. If a particle propagates along positive x direction and we say that its position uncertainty is delta x, then we may denote its conjugate momentum as px. You know that x, px are conjugate, canonically conjugate variables actually. So, if we want to measure x and want to measure py, that means the momentum along y axis, then such problem we will not need to face, but it will be the uncertainty will be there when we want to measure simultaneously the position of a particle and its conjugate momentum. That means if the motion is along x direction and you measure the momentum also along x direction, that means the x component px, then you assign the, just you denote symbolically the uncertainty due to momentum is delta px, then uncertainty relation says that delta x into delta px equals or greater than h bar by 2. This h bar means h by 2 pi, you know it. Similarly, if you do the entire thing in y axis, then delta y, delta py or delta z, delta pz greater equals h bar by 2. In general, here it is a general expression where q is a generalized coordinate and p is a generalized momentum conjugate to q. That means if we say if we take spherical polar coordinates, then definitely say r, delta pr, and if you take delta theta, then your momentum will be converted, p will be converted, replaced by angular momentum. We will see it, that where q is the generalized coordinate and p is the conjugate momentum. And we note that the uncertainty relation applies to any pair of conjugate variables, any pair of conjugate variables. Conjugate means the dimension of the product, that means q into p gives us the dimension of action, that means of angular momentum. You note that the h is the the Planck constant is treated as the unit of action. So, any canonically conjugate variables, delta L for angular momentum, delta theta for angular displacement, they satisfy L, dimension of L into dimension of theta. Theta is in fact a dimensionless quantity. So, it will match dimensionally. Similarly, if you check that energy into time, it gives you the dimension of action, means of angular moment. Here E is the energy of a particle at certain state. E means energy of a particle, say the electron, if the electron is close to the nucleus, then it will have more negative energy. If it is far away from the nucleus, it will have more positive energy. And so, if we want to measure the energy, we will see that there will be some uncertainty in measuring the energy, which is imposed from the concept of the wave nature associated to the electron, and T is the lifetime of that particular state. You will do a lot of application of this relation in future. So, note this relation very carefully. And as we see, the value of Planck constant is extremely small. Therefore, the uncertainty relation is often expressed as delta x, delta px is of the order of h, the Planck constant. We can choose it, in fact, if we need to, just this is for a passing note, don't take it too seriously, but this h or h bar Sometimes in many books you will see that the uncertainty relation is written as delta E delta T or delta X delta Px greater or equal to H bar, not this H bar by 2. This H bar by 2 is the actual mathematical relation, but as the order is the value of H is too small, so it doesn't really matter whether we use it exactly H or whether we use it H by 2 or H bar by 2, whatever. So in many books and in many cases you will use actually this relation, that delta X and delta Px when multiplied they becomes of the order of H. That is enough to give us any idea, any physical idea on the system. We will see it in the next class when we use the uncertainty relation to solve some problems. And as we see that for the same reason H is extremely small, so for macroscopic systems, that means what we see in our everyday life, a car is moving, a batsman is hitting a cricket ball. In every case there is a position of the object, say the cricket ball, and its momentum. Can we measure it? We note that the uncertainty is inherent also there, but this is so small that in case of macroscopic or real world measurements, that in our classical measurements, this value is so small that they are actually cannot be detected. In fact, such uncertainties, they will be merged within the experimental errors actually. So the experimental errors will be much higher than this value of H. And also note that the errors, that means the uncertainties delta X and delta Px, look, these errors, this word uncertainties, or they can be used in many forms actually. Many words, many synonyms can be used actually. In some cases it will be errors, in some cases it will be uncertainties, in some cases it will be spread. So the spread of the wave packet is delta X. In every case we have to understand the amount of possible uncertainty to measure the exact position, whatever be the word used with it, error or uncertainty or spread, whatever. So we just take note that these errors delta X and delta Px, they occur simultaneously, as I said it. Now we check it specifically. Say we want to assign a particular momentum to the particle, no spread, a fixed value of P. So our function will be, say, e to the power I omega t minus kx, and that k value doesn't vary, we have a fixed value, because we know k equals P by h bar, P equals h bar k. So if we fix, you see here, if we fix k, that means we fix P, or the other way around, if the particle has a definite momentum P, it has a definite value k. This means there is no error in momentum, so delta Px has to be 0. So what happens if it is so? Number one, our uncertainty relation says that if delta Px is 0, then delta X should be h by 0, means infinite. So let us check it. It means if delta Px is 0, it means the wave is purely harmonic and monochromatic, definitely monochromatic, because k equals to pi by lambda. So if we have a k value fixed, then we have a lambda value fixed. So the wave becomes a monochromatic, purely harmonic wave, and such a plane wave, we know that it is infinitely extended. You cannot associate a group of wave with it. So it is purely harmonic, monochromatic, not a group of waves. And such a wave extends from minus infinity to plus infinity. That means our position of the particle is totally lost. We cannot say anything. So infinite position uncertainty. So delta X equals infinity, as we saw it from here, from this relation. Now if we want to specify the position of the particle. So if we want to locate the position with absolute precision, there is a spelling mistake here. Precision. You check this and rectify this. Precision, with absolute precision, then delta x equal to 0. No uncertainty in position. This requires the wave packet must be infinitesimally small, and if you want to make it infinitesimally small, just you remember how you framed your delta function. Try to compare this with that. If it has a precise position, then it must have all waves having values from minus infinity to plus infinity. So you need a wave packet which is infinitesimally small, for which you need all waves having k values from minus infinity to plus infinity, and as k equals p by h bar, so k ranges from minus infinity to plus infinity, means your momentum ranges from minus infinity to plus infinity. That means the momentum cannot be determined at all. It can have any value actually. So we have delta px equal to infinity. So we see that the errors delta x and delta px are simultaneous. So we end here today with a note that in the next class we will use this uncertainty relation to understand a few features, physical features that happens in atomic domain. So thank you.